Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of selections from Aeschylus's Prometheus Bound, and I'm going to skip forward here to the next episode, the third episode here, starting at line 561. And Io now comes on stage, and she's in a very distraught state, and hence the meter of this is the very agitated meter and not the usual one that we're used to. And so she now says, Tisge, Tisgenos, what land is this? What race, or perhaps what people? Tina fo Lucane ton di kalenois en petrinoisi kaimad zomenon. So, by what name will I call? So I will call by what name the one I see. So this man that I see. So it's literally, I will say that I see what man, this one here, who is kemet zomenon, something like exposed to the elements, on the in the bonds of the rock, in these rocks which are binding. Tinos amplakias poinas oleke, iota adscript again. So you are perishing as requital for what wrongdoing. Samenon, imperative here, so indicate where, hey Mogira, this poor girl, where I, poor girl, I have wandered of the land. So indicate where in the land I, poor girl, have wandered. Now we get a line here, extra metrum, so he he, so alas, so she's now being attacked by this gadfly, which is the oistros. Creatis meton talain on oistros. So a gadfly, so a certain gadfly, create, is stinging me again. A gadfly which is an eidolon, a phantom of the earth-born Argos. This is Argus, the creature with the many eyes. Allue, so this is keep him away, imperative. Odar, now this is another old word for guy, for the earth. So, O earth, phobumai, I fear, when I look upon es horosa, this myriad-eyed Bhutan herdsman. This is from Bhutes. As I look upon this myriad-eyed herdsman, it's a first declension masculine noun. He comes literally having an eye which is crafty, dolion. So he comes having a crafty eye, he whom not even the earth Cuthe covers or hides when he is dead. Alame tan talanan ex eneron peron kunage. So peron is a participle from perao. So having crossed back from the dead, from those below, he hunts poor wretched me. Planar, something like he causes me to wander, from planao. So he causes me to wander. Nastin is an adjective meaning famished or hungry. Along the now we're getting these Doric forms here, the tan for tain, Samon is feminine, it's sand, it's a second declension feminine now. So along the sand beside the seashore. So two important points out of that little section. Io is being pursued by this gadfly. We'll hear more about that later. And she's calling out to Prometheus, asking him who he is. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit here now to line 589. Again, this is still in this agitated meter. And Prometheus says, Pose du Cluo, how would I not hear this maiden who is driven along, Dinio is to whirled along by the gadfly. This maiden, this daughter of Inaki. Well, in fact, it's Inachus. It's the Inakian daughter, so the daughter of Inachus, who Thalpe literally made warm the heart of Zeus, Eroti, with passion. So Zeus, of course, had fallen in love with Io and had pursued her, and now hated by Hera. Gumnazdatai, it's something like she is disciplined. Pros bian, by force, in respect of these wanderings, these runnings, which are hupermerkes, which are beyond measure. So it's disciplined by force with interminable wanderings. So again, I'm going to skip forward just to the next bit when Prometheus finally now agrees to talk to her, and he says, Lexo Toros, and I will tell you clearly everything which you wish to learn. Uk amplekone enigmata, so not weaving, well, we get our word enigmas from this, not weaving together, well, incomprehensible tales, enigmas, but with a simple word, al haploi logoi, as it is just as it is just, anoigain, well, it's connected with, and there's a verb oignumi, to open. This must be a simpler verb here, simplification of that, but there is oignumi, to open one's mouth to friends. So it's almost since, but just as it is just to open one's mouth to friends. Horaeus, this is again the Iota adscript here, so you are looking at Prometheus, the giver of fire to mortals, the one who gave fire to mortals. O koinon ophelema thanaetoi siphanes, O you who appear or have appeared as a common, well, boon, common assistance to mortals. Wretched Prometheus, do you suffer, sorry, it's decane 2, as penalty for what do you suffer these things? Harmoi pepaumai tus imus threnon ponus. Harmoi, it's a funny word, it means only just. So he says, slightly comic here, he says, only just have I ceased, lamenting, participle here, my troubles. In other words, I really don't want to go through it all again. Ukun porois an tendi doranian emoi. Surely you would provide optative with an. So would you not provide this gift emoi to me? Speak whatsoever thing you are. Well, the Haintin is agreeing with the Dorian, the feminine here. So speak of what gift you ask, for you would perceive, again optative from pun thanamai, pan the whole story move from me. Samenon replies, Io, hostis en pharangi masin. So indicate who, this is from Okmazda, which we had earlier in the play, to grip fast. So who fixed you, who tied you fast onto this crag? Look at this lovely line here, Beluma men todion. So the plan was a Zeus plan. It was Zeusian. In other words, the intention was from Zeus, Hephaestus dekai, but it was the hand of Hephaestus. Lovely men and de line there. So it was Zeus's idea, but Hephaestus carried it out. Poimnas de poion amplacameaton tines. So you are paying the penalty, the tines goes with the poinas, you are pay the penalty for what sort of sins. So this is from poios, it's not the verb, but it's the poios, what sort of. Tosuton arcos soi sephanisas monon. Again, slightly funny line here. It's literally, I have sufficient reporting or making clear alone such a thing for you. In other words, it's enough that I've told you this much, is to paraphrase it a little bit. So I have done sufficiently, making plain so only such an amount to you. Kai pros ge tutois termates emes planes. And in addition, now the get is important here, in addition to these things, then, reveal, Daikson, imperative from Daiknumi, reveal the terma, the end of my wanderings. What will be the time for this wretched girl? So how long am I going to have to do this? Tomain methane soi creson e methane tari. It is better for you not to learn this than to learn these things. Me toi macrupses tooth hope mellow pathane. Now you don't get mellow, this is an aorist infinitive here from Pasco. This is fairly rare, and to have mellow plus an aorist. Normally it takes a future after mellow. In later Greek you get a present, but in proper classical Greek it's a future, but here we get an aorist. So she says, do not, and the moi is almost an ethic dative here, so it's almost like please. So please do not hide this thing, the thing which I am about to suffer. Al u megairo tudi tu dorematos. I do not begrudge this gift. So, but I do not begrudge this gift. Jideta meles. Why then do you delay? Now the may is from. So it's almost, why do you delay from speaking out the whole story? Phtonos men udes. It's not. I'm not begrudging you it. There is no grudging. So I don't begrudge it to you. But okno from okneo, I shrink. Thoraxi is a short, or thrasso is a shortened form of tarasso. Tarasso is to disturb or frighten. But I shrink from terrifying your mind. And we get this thraxi as an aorist infinitive here, from thrasso, a shortened form of tarasso. And she replies, Me mu prosdeku mason hon emoi gluku. So this is a little bit difficult here. This is an imperative from Prometheus to take thought for. So do not take thought for me. Mason is a comparative adverb, so it's more than, and then we've got to understand those things which, let's get it attracted into the genitive. So do not have concern for me more than those things which, now it's plural, but then we've got a singular. It is pleasing, we can take this adverbially, it is pleasing, understand, for me to hear, something like that. Than is pleasing for me, literally. But we have a singular here after this plural in the home. And there may be some issues with this line. There's been various suggestions of how to fix it up. But the meaning of it, do not concern yourself for more than is sweet for me. So more than I care for. Epe Prometheus Kralegain, since it is necessary, understand, for me to speak with forethought, and of course the pun here on his name, Prometheus. So since I must speak with forethought, akuo de, hear then. Now the chorus at this stage interrupt, which kind of makes sense because they want to hear, and the audience wants to hear her story, and so they say, Maypo get, not yet at least, but provide a portion of pleasure, camoi, also for me. Tan tasty proton hysteromen noson, artes leguses tas polyphthoros tukas. So let us inquire at firstly of the tan noson, nos of course is feminine, the troubles or the disease of this girl. It's hard to translate nosos as disease really, but the problem of this girl, the unpleasant situation that she's in, of this girl, of her, she herself speaking of her polyphthoros, her something, well, much destroying, perhaps hazardous misfortune. Taloipa, and then the rest of the remainder of her trials, let them be taught. So neuter plural singular verb, but this is the third person singular imperative, passive. So let the remainder of her troubles then be taught. Para goes with the su. You can see from the accent here it's referring back, from you. And so in the next bit we will hear from Io as to what her background is, before we hear then later from Prometheus as to what's going to happen to her.